Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 2, also known as the beginning of unit 1 in technical writing. I wanted to give you a couple of just administrative things before I launch into our first assignment, which is a 500-word summary. Administrative stuff. I put a grade in for the introductory week. It's sort of like a free 5 points. If you haven't gotten everything done by today, February 1st, although I'm doing this on Wednesday. That's okay. Just this first week is to get everybody up and running with the tools and get to know each other, that sort of thing. So those points are going to count until we get to about the 13th or 14th of February. If you haven't gone over and looked at the Padlet, you should. You're a bunch of interesting people, really close to graduation, really sort of on top of it. So go over, even if you put yours up early, go over and check and see what other people have written, excuse me, and commented on, because it's worth a look. Which also brings me to the perusal, the reading, the what is technical writing on perusal. Terrific comments, just really good comments, very thoughtful stuff. What's the difference between school and writing in the real world? There's several conversations about that. What's the role of audience? There's writing for the instructor, and then there's writing for figuring out what the heck audience you're going to be writing to, whether it's the boss or the client or somebody in-house. That's important. That's what technical writing is about. And I just read somebody's question about, because the book says it's one of the like top 60 jobs going forward. And the question was, is this still going to be true now that we're in the 2020s? And I went out and looked it up. And according to US News, it's number 83 in the top 100 jobs. And it's like number 3 in media and creative arts. So it's technical writing as a profession is still very sought after. And the thing about being a technical writer these days is you really got to kind of keep up with the technology, which is why it's a nice segue into unit 1, which is all about new forms of technology using artificial intelligence. So great comments. Go over there and look, click on things, just see what people are saying. Again, very, very thoughtful. I'm very impressed. They're a smart bunch of people. So that's one of the reasons I like this technical writing class. Somebody else mentioned the team evaluation sheet, the team charter. Yes, it works. I got it from somebody who works. They use it in their company. They shall remain nameless and the company shall remain unidentified, but they've been using it for years, or a version of it. And I first took it into the I think I said this before, my video game narrative class for team projects, and it really, really works. So I transferred it over here to the technical writing classes. And again, it's been very useful because everybody feels like they're being held accountable and they know that they're going to be able to hold other people accountable as well. And that really helps a group project go forward, because everybody's kind of got some feeling like it's going to be taken seriously one way or the other. So what else do I want to say? Oh, I forgot about conference hour today. This is Wednesday about 7 o'clock. And I apologize. I went back and put it on my calendar. Oh, I love having ADHD. If I don't write it down, it doesn't count. So it's in my calendar now. Honestly, it's in my Google Calendar. I will remember. If I'm not going to make one day, I will put a notice in Slack and let you know I'll be gone. So I apologize for anybody who tried to log in this afternoon or this evening. My fault. My bad. Apologize. Okay. I think that's all I got here. Oh yeah. The other thing is when you're going through the things on perusal, of which they're not a whole lot, but they will be doing some off and on all term. As you're reading and you see somebody has highlighted something that you wanted to comment on, just click on the highlight and jump into the conversation. I don't need to remind you that because you're already doing it, but what the heck, I have to do something as an instructor. So now we're going to move on to unit 2, a newer technology that technical writers are using. So let me share my screen here and go find it. Don't need to be on that one. I do need to be on here. Okay. So here's the website. Okay. Here's the full schedule. I just want to remind you that everything we're going to be doing is on here. It may change. I may change links, or I may change a few things here and there, but this is pretty well carved in stone, especially for an asynchronous classes. It's got to be pretty tight. So here we are with week 2. This is due on Sunday, and this will be due next Wednesday. I'll walk us all through this in just a second. And what I normally do is I will, for example, as soon as I finish doing this video and get it uploaded, I will copy all of this, and I'll put it on the announcements page. So you don't actually have to come look for it. It will be on the announcements page for you to look at. So, but I just, so you see it's here, can see what's going on with it, right? So, and I have links all over the place for all this stuff too. So it's a schedule. So, units. This is the first unit. It's a 500-word article summary. Now, I know what it says on the syllabus, that table that's got all the breakdowns of the 500-word article, which is this right here. What I'm going to do, I changed it a little bit because, again, I wanted to kind of keep up with what's going on with technology, and this can be very dry, and it doesn't have to be. AI, chat, Claude, Mistral, there's a bunch of them. There's a ton of them. They are like the elephant in the room in higher education. What do we do with Chat GPT? So I thought, head on, let's just do it because the real world uses it. I work for a ghostwriting company, and I used it this afternoon because one of the writers on this book that I'm working on, I thought she misquoted or misrepresented an origin story from the Arapaho Nation. So I went out and I did a little nosing around on my own, and then I went to chat and I said, can you summarize the flat pipe origin story? And sure enough, the writer had found some wacky doodle thing that was not the origin story. It was something else from a different culture. So chat really helped a lot with that because I could double check stuff. So that is exactly how technical writers are using chat these days, is to do the things that to double check on information and to do things like writing summaries, which are a pain in the neck to do. And it's just not fun. Chat does it great. It has its limitations. So we're going to look at all of that. We're going to look at what it does well, what the problems are. The big one being that it hallucinates. Those of you who know anything about computer stuff and have worked with AI know that hallucinating means it just makes stuff up. It just makes stuff out of the clear blue. I don't know, I'm gonna make it up. So you always have to go back and check stuff. So that's sort of the idea behind all this. And it also, unless you ask it to, it won't put quotes in. And even if it does, it often puts the wrong quotes in or misquotes it. So we're gonna sort of play with this. And that's how we're gonna write this 500-word summary. It means it's gonna happen pretty fast because chat's gonna do most of the work for you. Okay. So here's the procedure. It's pretty straightforward. I say that word a lot, and I think I got a lot of grins and winks and stuff on the syllabus chat, and the reading. But what the heck? So then let me go over to peruse all. You've already done this. What we're gonna do is there's this about using AI, and there's 2 parts to it. One of them is a video about. Double check this. It's a video on how yeah, sorry lady, how technical writers use chat, and so the pitfalls of using it. So I want you to watch. It's short. It's 15 minutes, but it's got a lot of interesting information. Some of it has gotten a little outdated, be honest, because I pulled this thing down last summer, and I haven't looked for another one, but I might very soon. And then the next part of it is this article from the New York Times about how we shouldn't just pretend chat doesn't exist. It's like when cell phones came in, the big conversation was, what do we do with cell phones in the classroom? And I had colleagues who do everything from put buckets at the door and make students drop their phones in it when they came in and pick them up when they left. And I thought, or just take them away or make them turn them off, all kinds of stuff. I decided that's ridiculous. They're here to stay. And so I started doing things in the classroom where people could use their phones to do some research, and other things. And that's worked out pretty well for me. I have been known to take a phone away from somebody who was texting, but that was an exceptional situation. So it's the same issue with chat, with the AI in the classroom. So this is an interesting article. Again, this is from a year ago, but the issue is still around. So what I wanted you to do is, watch the video, and then when you read the article, then go over to, yes, our friendly Padlet, and here's the prompt. Just tell us a little bit about your own experience using AI. And sort of your overall reaction to the article and video. You can comment on them for sure when you're reading and watching them. And it's just a reminder of how to do this, but you already know how to do it. But we've all used AI, and there's no right or wrong. There's no, I'm not going to put you into AI jail for having used AI someplace, because we all do it. So that's going to be, that's what this assignment is. It's pretty much mostly all we're going to be doing, except for this how to give comments, which I'll talk about in a couple of weeks. Now, actually, a little preview of that. You've all been through peer review. Most people hate it, because some students just use it to like be grammar police, right? And mark the commas in the period. That's not your job, that's mine. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. Really good to give really good feedback. It should be praiseworthy. I like this because, or things like, I don't quite understand this. Can you explain it a little differently? Or can you tell me more? Or, there are various ways to do this so that makes you feel good. And so that's what this is going to be for when we get there. That's another week. Okay. Actually, it's the next week. So those are what you're going to be looking at in perusal. Those two. The next thing is to pick an article, and you're going to load it up into an AI of your choice. Now, it can be from, it's supposed to be from a field you're going into, or it could be just some technical or science thing that you're interested in. Now, you can use the library to find it any way you want to. Be mindful that when you use free versions of AI, if you're going to use a free version, they do tend to have limits on how much you can upload and prompt them to summarize. I ran into that like 2 or 3 times last year. So make sure it's fairly short, or double check your token limit and your info limit on your AI before you load it up. So just be careful of that. So then you just put it into your AI. Look at what goes in a 500-word summary, which is this thing, which I'm not going to go through, but it's just got a text block, and then the first chapter says this is a summary of an article about blah. And then the second part of it is these are the specifics, examples and stuff. And then there is the bibliographic information on the bottom, which you can copy off, and you can run it through a bibliographic entry, a citation machine, stuff like that. That'll give you this information without you having to do it yourself. I can talk more about this as we get closer to it, but that's really all that's in here. This is just the overall idea, the main idea of the article, and these are the specifics of it. So look at that. And I got it, it's downloadable. So you can also look at it here. So load the article into AI of your choice, again, being mindful of words, and prompt it to generate a summary of the article. Now, these have to be 500 words, no more than 500 words. Mostly because when a boss asks you to write something of 500 words and you think you're doing them a favor by giving them 1,000, they'll only read the first 500 words. They'll stop, they'll complain, they'll slap you down, and you'll be in trouble. So, getting used to certain length limitations is part of what it means to work on the job. So the whole thing will be 500, not counting the bibliography, but this part of it needs to be 500 words. So what I have found that works a little better than telling chat, please generate a 500-word summary of this article. I've been asking, as students be successful, asking chat, please generate a 450-word summary of this article, because there's another step you have to take after that. Works pretty well. So once you get the summary, you got to do 3 things. You have to review it for correctness, remembering that AIs tend to hallucinate. In other words, they make stuff up. So you got to go back and look at the article and sort of then read through the summary and make sure it's telling the truth. and then add 2 quotes, at least 2 quotes that explain or expand on specific points being made in the article. That means down in here, you know, as the researcher says, boop quote, right? I may add something on as a memory refresher on how to quote stuff, how to introduce quotes and how to use them well. In fact, I'll probably put that up here this week, just so you'll have it. So keep an eye out for that, but I'll let you know it's coming. So you add the 2 quotes, and then you check and make sure all this is 500 words, and then add the bibliographic information at the bottom. Then we're going to workshop with each other, and then submit it. You'll submit it to the folder, the Google folder, and we'll workshop with each other and then submit it. Then you'll submit a revised version of it. I have to tweak this a little bit because it's not quite right. I thought I caught that, but I missed it. So where you're going to submit it when you get your draft of it done is right here. Okay, instruction net. Oh, not there. Where am I? This one. You put it in here. So you just upload your summary, and then we'll be able to look at it and give you some feedback and give each other some feedback and talk about it. So that's what the drive is for. So I'm going to go tweak when I get done here. I'm going to go tweak that work, this schedule a little bit, just so you'll have it correct. Because this is a pretty fast unit. This week you're going to get everything done to the you'll get it done essentially by this time next week. You'll have something up in that folder on Google Drive. Right, so here it is. And then the next week I'll talk more about drafting, about workshopping, leaving feedback. One thing about your rough draft is it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. It can be what Annie Lamont calls a shitty first draft, which some of you may have read when you were in the first year English class. So that's all this draft is going to be by next week. Is just, you know, basically an SFD, a shitty first draft of your 500 word thing. So there may be chunks of it missing. It may be too long. It may be too short. But it's going to be up there for us to give comments on. Okay, so this is like a quick and dirty kind of a thing. None of this stuff will take you very much time. This will be checking accuracy and adding 2 quotes will be the most time consuming parts of it, but there's really not that much to it. So I think that's pretty much it for what we're going to be doing in this unit. It is due, the final revision part of it will be due on the 14th, right? So we got 2 weeks to get the whole thing done, workshopped and revised. Now, a word about grades and revisions. If you're, even after we've done the rough draft and we've all given you some feedback on it, if your revised draft is still short, it's still not working the way it should, and I give you notes to that effect, feel free to revise it and I will revise your grade up. So you have the whole rest of the term to do a revision of your revised draft, if that makes any sense. In other words, grades are not written in stone until the very last day of class. So you have a chance to revise everything from here till the end. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to be working on this. And I think that's pretty much it. If you got questions, I'm going to stop share here so I can wave goodbye. You got questions, DM me. People are having some nice conversations with people already. Otherwise, DM me, email me, and I will see you in the next video.